Well, this day I decided to visit ancient Hillfort. This is interesting. Somebody was lighting a candle or something here. Today's main goal is a very slow-paced walk with a lot of silence, a lot of exploring the views, exploring almost every stone and commenting on all the plants. Well, this day I decided to visit ancient Hillfort, actually one of my favorite ones, if not the favorite one. There is just something attracting me to come here. I don't know if it's the idea of the ancestors or I really have no clue what it is, but I feel a very strong sense of some kind of community or belonging or being at peace when I'm here. I seen a campfire place a moment ago and I was just thinking how nice would it be to be with your family and friends, gather around the fire and talk. Those are the things I'm really missing a lot of the time. But okay, let's stop with the internal stories and inner feelings. This is interesting. Somebody was lighting a candle or something here. It's like a morning sight. Did not see that before. And there is this peculiar stone here. This place is full of peculiar stones when you think about it. It's not too huge, but it's large enough. An interesting spot. Wondering what kind of function did it have, if any. A lot of the times I spent here, talking to myself, literally and figuratively, thinking about life. And one time when I was somewhere over here, I was talking about ancestry and how the name of snake in Illyrian and stuff, because I'm standing on ancient Illyrian Hillfort. And just few minutes after I stopped recording, this all happened a few years ago, there was a snake and it came toward me. I have it all on camera somewhere, so I will have to try to dig out the footage and just paste it right now somewhere. If I didn't know any better, I would say there's definitely a road here, a small, tiny road. And it goes over the gap in those walls. So I'm guessing maybe, just maybe, there's a possibility that there's an entrance that remained from the ancient times. But take into account this is famous place, that archaeological excavations were already done here, and probably many of these roads are made. But however, see this one, for instance. It seems only natural it was here before, because you have these steps and you have a snake. Okay, I see a snake. I don't know if you can see it. For fuck's sake. Okay. I don't I don't even want to know. Okay. Okay. I'm not sure who was more scared here. It's just it looked at me and it looked like it wanted to go towards me. It was oh for fuck, and it did go towards me at one moment. Ah, fuck. You know what is good thing here? And I know this snake is not poisonous, but damn, it doesn't make it any easier. All right, maybe ancestors. I think I shouldn't say word snake in ancient Illyrian on ancient Illyrian graveyard anymore. And I'm talking about it. It was very intense. I was very afraid. If I found that footage, you could see by my breathing how scared I was. Oh, big lizard. I remember I just ran away from there and hid beneath these shrubs, and my heart was pounding so hard. The good thing is that only later I found out that the bite from that snake, even though it's not a venomous snake, the bite is not pleasant. It's one of the worst kinds of bites you can get. The snake is apparently strong or something, so it makes a lot of damage when it bites you. Well, it's a good thing that I didn't know that right then, because I would be even more scared. But back then, I just thought, yeah, I know this snake. This is not venomous. I'm fine. When I hopped from one rock to another, it got scared and ran away. Beautiful and peaceful place. So I won't lose too much time talking about history, but this is one of the 3 hills, and there are a lot more surrounding this area. We can see one right there. In those ancient times you would have Hillforts or some kind of other forts or graveyards or some other sites on every hilltop. It was a good thing for defense, of course. It was a good thing for visibility. It was a good thing even, I guess, for communicating between the hill forts and villages. Maybe they would light a huge fire if there were enemy coming by, so everybody could prepare for an attack. Mind you, this is just assuming, so I'm speculating here. I'm not an expert on this. I did read many books and stuff, but that does not really count as being an expert, does it? So, I'm just telling what is the most likely story behind it. So Illyrians, they got here and they were Indo-European peoples. They replaced the people who were there before them. Those were most likely some kind of mix of early European farmers and hunter-gatherers. So they replaced them. I think they started coming around 1000 BC and started replacing them slowly. Nobody exactly knows how it happened. So that's another piece of speculation there. But what is interesting, those ancient Neolithic sites, early European farmers and alike, honestly, personally, they interest me more than the later ones. And there is a site nearby, just a few kilometers away from this one, very similar to this one, but the site actually belonged to those Neolithic people. So I'm talking about most likely 3000 BC, maybe even more. And there is a spot that's called the Stonehenge. It is actually Stonehenge they found. Most likely had to do something with ancient calendars and keeping track of the sun and nature waking up for, so they can plan the harvests and planting and all the rest of things. I'll visit that site as well. But this one that you see now, all these are modern constructions. So places like these are very popular among New Age people. hippie communities, not necessarily hippie, but you know, new age. And people who maybe just like to meditate and to explore stuff, they come here and they are sitting meditating for hours or minutes or whatever suits them. Excuse me, I have a stuffed nose because I'm allergic apparently to something. Don't know what it is, but apparently my ancestry did not build up a good tolerance of local plants. Hey bee. So, enough about history. Won't be wasting too much time, maybe I'll mention it here and there, but today's main goal is to search, maybe mention history here and there, but just a very slow-paced walk with a lot of silence, a lot of exploring the views, exploring almost every stone and commenting on all the plants and, you know, what kind of function would those plants have in those ancient times. Were they here in those times when Illyrians were here and people before them? Were they eaten? How they were eaten? I even got my little foraging bag. I already know some plants that I'm going to collect and talk about, so yeah, let's go. I just need some minutes to rest and we can go and explore. As I'm sitting here, I must say I feel a very intense smell of goats or sheep. I'm not sure. And you can hear them from the other side and see their droppings on the ground. This is common in these areas. It would be very interesting to go back thousands of years ago and discover that on the same place, same time, there were maybe even similar species, kinds of sheep and goats going on here, and you know, shepherds around them. So what's changed is just people do not longer live here, and a lot of things change in a few thousand years, but you know, some kind of background principles, they always remain the same. We are concerned about food and shelter and other things, having a family, somebody that cares for you and so on. So basically everything else is just add-ons, like in a video game. It's extension, technology extension, I don't know, cars extension, being able to fly extension, some other stuff extension, and that's it. Everything pretty much the same. I think if I would sit down with the ghost of an ancestor here, I call them all ancestor, does not necessarily have to be mine, but we would get along pretty well on the topics of food and shelter. And you know what I would say to them? I'll keep this rant for another day, not for today. Already was talking too much. We'll finish my beer and yeah, let's look for the plants. Well, this wall seems very interesting to animals for some reason, to insects. There is all black kind of bee that's being attacked by a random real bee, and then there's a butterfly that got into the fight. I have no idea what's going on here. This is like the Balkans. Beautiful. A lot of trees are in bloom, and there is a lot of asparagus. So I'm searching here, and I can see for some of them that humans already picked them up. So here is asparagus plant, and there is a snake somewhere down here. I know it. I've seen it again. I don't know why, but this spot is very interesting, this entire slope. Up from there where that ritual thing is, and that huge rock to over here, there is some energy going on here, but I don't know how to explain it. And yeah, this is asparagus. I'm trying to find another one, but I find a very nice large pieces a moment before. Here is one. So this one just started to go to seeds. It is still edible, but I wouldn't pick it necessarily at this point, unless I'm very hungry. So as they get older, they get more woody and stringy, and it's not very pleasant to eat them. This one is still edible, it's soft, but I will let it be. A lot of asparagus here. So the moment before, I was standing on the cliff, just like this one, and I was looking down, and that one huge asparagus was so prominent that it made such contrast with the rest of the tall grass. I seen it immediately, even though it was maybe at least 5-6 meters away from me. And then when I got there, I found another one under the bush. And right next to that, there was a very peculiar thing that I never seen before, but I wouldn't bet that it's extremely rare. I did not see it. So it was the remnants of the old asparagus that was cut off. So something like this. You know, when people cut it off, it gets dry. And on the sides of it, 2 new shoots started growing, and also down the stalk there were some new shoots coming up. So it's interesting, just I never seen something like that before. Again, I'm not saying it's uncommon or anything, but where is a snake? It's always somewhere over here. Huh. Imagine. Yeah, I know you don't hear this, but maybe you will feel the vibrations. Come on, ancestors. Any ideas how to solve the modern problems? Oh, look at this. It's like, maybe it used to be a house or something, I don't know. It used to be something, that's for sure. There is visible path going down there. Most likely thousands of years old. Humans just kept using it and it remained there. Beautiful. There is a special story about this tree. This is the Terebinth. And pistachio, if I pronounced it correctly, if not you will excuse me, is also related to this. From the seeds of this one, you could make, I think, substitute for coffee or things like that, but nothing much. It is, however, very prominent in, you know, in even early civilizations from the Fertile Crescent and so on. They had a thing for this terebinth tree. Sometimes there were rituals going on around or underneath them. That would explain a few of the things with snakes and ghosts and stuff here, but okay. And it had significant spiritual meaning to a lot of civilizations. So is it coincidence that on the top of this Hillfort there's a bunch of Terebinth trees? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Can only speculate. I wonder, is the rain coming? It would be beautiful to be on the top while it's raining, and well, wouldn't be so smart with the lightnings. But anyway, I would love to live through that. Let's stand in the center of the circle. Oh, the wind is getting stronger. Okay. I hear the goats or the sheep. Quite nearby. Let's explore. Let's explore further. So there is one thing I always pick up when I'm here, and that's the winter savory. It is one of my favorite spices, and I actually have a short interesting story about how did I get to it. One day, when I was heading right here on this Hillfort, that day I planned to make beans for lunch. And I was thinking, let me get some herbs to try to mix it with them, just maybe something will be useful. And then I took winter savory. Here it is. Too bad that I cannot send you the smell of it. Bits and pieces will go into my foraging bag, but you can see how it looks. I'll look it up for details if you wish, but it has a very herby, fresh kind of smell. And I didn't know back then what it was actually used for. And then I found out that is most recommended especially for meals with beans. Now imagine that coincidence. I was thinking the nature was trolling me. And then to elaborate, the reason for that is winter savory actually decreases flatulence, and everybody knows about the farts after the meal with beans. Whoever ate the beans anyway, most of us did. And you might be indifferent, but if you're living with anybody, that person might not be. So this is very good for that. But apart from all that thing, it's a very nice smell to be added into stews with meat, with beans. And I always keep just a handful of dried ones at home. This was by accident. I didn't intend to pull out the whole plant. And just the tops. So, not even, maybe it would be better to pick it with two hands. Anyway, just a handful of it. Nothing much, because I don't really need much. But a lot of tasty meals will come out of it. We'll pick some more with both hands, and that's pretty much it. But the amazing thing is, I always find this place on top of Hillforts. It's like the signature plant of the ancient Hillforts, at least in these regions. And when you walk over it, the smell it releases is very pungent, and I love it so much. It's very relaxing. And then you have the relaxing view and the silence, and what more do you need in life? Well, it doesn't help that I'm right next to the snake's nest, but this is field balm. It's a kind of mint, so I won't be picking again most of that, just the tops and just a few of the plants. It has a nice smell. It's minty, but it's weak. Pleasant, but not that intense, not too intense. So it will most likely be some kind of, low intensity, nice refreshing tea. Again, I want to use both hands, so I just get the tops. And yeah, interesting tea time is coming. I'm just being careful not to take some bugs with me. If they made a home in the leaves, I always leave it. So it's a shame to destroy somebody's home, isn't it? We'll just pick a few more for my foraging bag, and I will report on the taste of the tea when the time comes. You can make tea from the, of course, not dried ones, but the fresh ones. If it's made from the fresh leaves, you need a bit more of them. If it's made from the dry ones, I believe, but you can check it out to be sure, a bit less of them compared to the fresh ones. But still, it's very similar amount anyway. And you'll see how it goes. Oh, look at this. Emerald beetle of some kind. I love those. And now I remembered again I am near the snake's nest, so let me pick a few of these, and yeah, there's some over there, and I'll just get out of here. Maybe walk a bit down there to see what's hiding. We will maybe find some herbs, some snakes, some interesting trees. Who knows? And maybe even the storm will catch us. So let's see, there is some asparagus between these two rocks, and patches of I don't know what this is. Does not smell minty. It looked like mint from the distance, but it's not. But it's always interesting to see. It's actually easily noticeable that plants you find in the shades and those you find in the sun are quite different most of the time. It's not a rule, of course. There are some that like both, but my safety thing could be a hazard because these parts are hanging and then I can stumble upon myself. So, let's see. A bit of winter savory, a bit of field balm. Okay, this is the one on the full sun. But those under the shade are thriving much better. And that was not the field balm. I'm talking about this thing that reminded me of the mint of some kind, but it's not. And this little path, I was always drawn to it. Never gathered the courage to go there. Oh, of course. How unusual. Trash. Let's get to that one. No. Good thing is there is not a lot of it. At least not as much as, unfortunately, you might expect. Beautiful. See all these? Don't know if it's visible on the footage, but they're huge stone blocks making a terrace of a kind, just like this one. So some of these are natural, of course, but they have been modified to make platforms for houses and structures on the Hillfort and for the walls that are used for protection. Well, they were used for protection Now everything is crumbled down. Let's see. I'm expecting to meet a snake or two. Yeah. Huge stone blocks. And there are some more over here. There were excavations in some part of the Hillforts, and there are a lot of graves. I'm not sure if they did excavate all of them. Around 300 was, I believe. They were, if I'm not mistaken, they were in urns, so urns was buried beneath the stone blocks. Something very common in Urnfield culture, in Hallstatt culture. Let's see. What do we have here? What kinds of pets? I mean, snakes and wild boars are one thing, but whenever I meet a human in such remote places where I'm used to being alone with my friends, most of the time I would be so scared. In the moment, you know, like I would think I see a ghost, not a human. Oh, interesting, there is a path there leading to even more pile of stones. You know, some of these might be recent, some of them not. The recent ones are the ones that are usual dry walls common in this area, and they are built just to mark the property borders. You can most of the time you can tell when the dry wall is recent and when it's not. The prehistoric ones have a certain vibe to it. They are much broader, maybe even a few meters. It's characteristic that they have huge stones on the sides and smaller piles inside. And then, of course, use your own judgment. You see how much older they look. Most of them are buried underground, actually. Only small part is visible up, and it might be crumbled very bad with moss and trees and all sorts of plants growing around it, inside it. Just telling something from my experience, and sorry for being windy. I mean winded. I'm not a weather to be windy. I don't even know what I'm talking about. I think I should have brought more sandwiches to feed my brain on this journey. Beautiful. Well, going to hang out some more. Maybe record a few things if I find anything interesting, and after that read a book, hang out some more, and go home. My friends await me the other side. Just to be clear, I'm not talking about the afterlife, given the whole ghostly and ritualistic vibe here. You don't know what I might mean. Oh, okay, now it's windy and winded. Well, my friends, until next time, unless I find something interesting, I'm going to enjoy the rest of the day, and that's pretty much it.